think that's the problem with a lot of pop stars and a lot of people in this industry is people are telling.
Who exactly is Justin Bieber talking to with these emotional posts? And why does it feel like every word is aimed at someone specific, not just a vague comment on fame or frustration? Fans are convinced this isn't just random venting. They believe Justin is calling out Benny Blanco. And it's not just because of timing. Both Selena Gomez and Benny dropped new music recently, and the lyrics? They cut deep. To outsiders, it might sound like a breakup ballad or a fresh start anthem. But to those who've been following this story for years, it feels personal. Too personal. Especially for Justin. And now Justin's reaction has fans raising eyebrows. Not because he shouted or dropped a diss track, but because he stayed quiet, and somehow that silence felt louder than anything. His words online were vague but heavy. He didn't mention names. He didn't have to. What he did share was an open admission. He's still trying to forgive someone from his past. Still hurting. That confession came just days after Benny Blanco released his new album featuring Selena. For Justin, that wasn't just another release on Spotify. It was like being forced to watch two people he used to trust write a new chapter without him, and maybe about him. The lyrics in those songs weren't just poetic. They were sharp, and the timing? Brutal. Imagine listening to your ex and a friend you once considered family sing about letting go right when you're trying to keep yourself together. According to In Touch Weekly, this wasn't just uncomfortable. For Justin, it was devastating. Sources say Benny completely distanced himself from Justin once he started getting close to Selena. And for Justin, it wasn't just about romance. It was about trust, loyalty. And suddenly, all of that was gone. To make it worse, the public commentary felt unbalanced. Justin reportedly felt like he was always the villain. That if he acted the way Benny and Selena were acting now, he'd be ripped apart online. But they were celebrated. No criticism, no backlash, just applause. Then came the album I Said I Love You First, a genre-blending project that got fans talking immediately. Theories exploded across social media. Was this album a subtle attack on Justin? One track made it almost impossible to ignore. The song asked, "How does it feel to be forgotten?" And the lyrics? They weren't gentle. "You're so embarrassing. Go cry when no one's watching." Sure, it could be just another breakup song. But for fans who know the long history between these three, it didn't feel like coincidence. It felt like a message wrapped in melody. Justin didn't clap back. He didn't record a response song. Instead, he took to Instagram. He posted quietly but emotionally. A photo in a hoodie, head down. A post that read, "I got anger issues too, but I want to grow." Then a childhood photo, a shipping yard. An image of his son. These weren't polished PR moments. They were raw. And in one caption, he wrote something that hit home. "Sometimes I hate myself. When I feel myself becoming inauthentic, when I change to please people." It didn't read like a celebrity update. It read like a page from his journal accidentally made public. Earlier that same week, he posted something even deeper. "We have nothing to prove today. Nothing is owed to us, and we don't owe anyone anything." It wasn't a quote meant for likes. It was a reminder. To himself, maybe. A way to breathe through the storm. Fans and insiders started to worry. This wasn't the usual heartbreak hangover. It felt heavier. Not just because of what was said, but what wasn't. The silence, the avoidance. The weight of everything left unsaid. People close to Justin started noticing a shift. Not just in his words, but in how he reacted or didn't react to questions, especially when they involved Selena. During a recent encounter with reporters, someone brought up her new album. The room changed. Justin's face hardened. "Don't ask me about her again," he said sharply. It wasn't just a line, it was a wall going up. A clear signal. This wasn't gossip to him, it was real, raw, still bleeding. He wasn't looking for drama. He was trying to survive it. Meanwhile, Selena approached things differently. During a Spotify interview right before the album release, she addressed the rumors with grace. "Anytime I release anything," she said calmly, "people are going to interpret it however they want." Sitting beside Benny, she clarified that the songs weren't about just one past relationship. "These songs are from both of our lives," she said. "They're about friendships, growing up, dealing with change." She was careful, intentional, even peaceful. I've lost people, she added, and I've gained new ones. This album is about our stories. Still, no matter how softly she said it, the speculation didn't stop. Maybe it was the lyrics. Maybe it was history. Maybe it was just the ache people still feel when a love story ends without real closure. But fans couldn't let go of the idea that the album, at least in part, was about Justin and how could they? Justin and Selena weren't just a celebrity couple. They were the couple. The two hearts everyone watched fall in love, fall apart, and try again over and over. Their story lived in interviews, Instagram posts, blurry paparazzi photos. And it never really left. Their love wasn't just private. It was cultural. When they hurt, the internet felt it. And when they moved on, people didn't always follow. It wasn't just Selena that stirred those feelings. It was Benny too. His role in all of this is what makes the betrayal feel deeper. Because before there was drama, before there was distance, there was a friendship. Justin and Benny weren't just colleagues. They were close, creative partners, brothers in the studio. Benny praised Justin constantly, called him brave, called him real. He's not one of those fake pop stars, Benny once said. He's honest, and that kind of loyalty? It mattered to Justin. Especially in an industry that often feels cold and calculated. So how did they go from that to this? That's the question everyone's asking. How did a friendship like that fall apart? And why does it feel like Selena was the turning point? To understand that, you have to go back. Way back, to where it all began, not in the music studios or fashion shows, but in the quiet moments Justin shared with Selena. Because Selena wasn't just a girlfriend, she was a chapter, a soundtrack, a part of Justin's identity when he was still figuring out who he was. Their story began in 2009 when a young, wide-eyed Justin Bieber called Selena Gomez his celebrity crush. It was innocent back then, just a teenage dream. But by 2011, it had become something real. They debuted as a couple on the red carpet at the Vanity Fair Oscars party, young, beautiful, and deeply in love. In 2015, Justin told Complex magazine, "We were so in love, nothing else mattered." He even compared their relationship to marriage. The connection ran that deep. When asked who inspired certain songs, he danced around the question. But fans knew. Everyone knew. The emotions in tracks like Sorry, Ghost, and All That Matters weren't vague. They were love letters, heartbreak confessions, and open wounds turned into melody. Selena responded in her own way. Her song The Heart Wants What It Wants was unmistakably about Justin. He called it beautiful, but also admitted it hurt. To listen to, their relationship was more than headlines. It was a roller coaster of almost back together. Almost forever. Every time they tried to walk away, something pulled them back. But it was always just shy of healing. Too much. History. Too many eyes watching. And through it all, Selena never spoke cruelly about him. Even when it was over, she chose silence over bitterness. She once said, "I'm exhausted. I can't do it anymore." She wasn't angry, she was just done. "I care about his well-being, but I'm done talking about him." Justin, on the other hand, never really let go. Not emotionally. He moved on, physically dating others, eventually marrying Hailey Baldwin, but traces of Selena stayed with him, in the lyrics, in the interviews, in the quiet moments. And through all of that, Benny Blanco was one of the few people he trusted. Not just as a producer, but as a person. They crafted songs like Lonely together, talked about pain, shared stories no one else knew. Benny called Justin honest, rear different from the industry noise. And in return, Justin considered him loyal. That mattered in a world full of fake smiles and PR friendships. But slowly, that loyalty disappeared. There was no dramatic fallout. Just a slow fade. It began when Benny started spending more time with Selena. Justin noticed the shift. The messages slowed. The inside jokes stopped. The warmth went cold. And then, without warning, Benny and Selena made their relationship public. Justin stayed quiet. But the silence didn't mean he was okay. It meant he was processing. And then came the engagement. December 2024. The moment that shattered whatever peace Justin had left. There was no phone call, no warning, just headlines. Benny Blanco and Selena Gomez were engaged. Two names from Justin's past, now linked. Forever without him. He didn't post a message of congratulations. He didn't even acknowledge it publicly. Instead, he quietly unfollowed Benny. And not just him, Drake, The Weeknd, others too. It was like watching someone lock the door and throw away the key. Not in rage, but in exhaustion. Sources close to Justin say he had tried more than once to mend things with Benny, but each time, he was met with indifference, or worse, silence. Eventually, he gave up. This wasn't just about an old relationship anymore. It was about boundaries, about protecting the pieces of himself he had left. Because every time he tried to move on, something pulled him back. A song, a quote, a viral clip. He was being kept in a loop. He no longer wanted to be part of and then came the album I Said I Love You First. A collaboration between Benny and Selena that didn't just feel like music. It felt like a message. Bold, raw, unfiltered. It was. Praised by critics, adored by fans, and dissected line by line. To Justin, it wasn't just art, it was confirmation. That everyone had moved on without him. That he was no longer the main character in a story he helped build. On social media, the album exploded. Fans asked questions. Was this revenge? Were the lyrics aimed at Justin? Was Benny helping rewrite a narrative where Justin was the problem, not the heartbroken one? Even Taylor Swift joined in, publicly praising the album on Instagram, tagging both Selena and Benny with a glowing message. I love this album so much. Her approval gave it weight, legitimacy. Now it wasn't just another album, it was an event. Selena and Benny appeared on The Tonight Show, giggling, teasing each other, full of inside jokes. It was cute, effortless, but for longtime fans, it was bittersweet. The message beneath the laughter felt clear. We've moved on, we're happy, we don't owe anyone anything. Benny doubled down online cooking for Selena, posting sweet photos, sharing quiet moments, and the internet ate it up. He's perfect for her, one fan wrote. The same people who once begged for a Selena-Justin reunion were now rooting for Benny. And slowly, Justin began to vanish. From their story, from the spotlight, from social media. He wasn't mentioned in interviews, he wasn't referenced in posts. Not even in shade. He was just gone. In a Billboard interview, Benny looked directly at Selena and said, "Your energy, your thought process, it's changed people. It's powerful." His words weren't just praise. They were admiration, deep and sincere. Selena, sitting beside him, looked more grounded than she had in years. Her face calm, her posture unbothered. On Jay's podcast, she opened up even further. "When Benny looks at me," she said, "I don't think he sees anything but who I am." Then she added, "That's rare. I never had that before." She called him her best friend. Said he made her feel safe. And when she smiled and said, "It just feels right," the world believed her. She wasn't performing this time. She was living it. Later, the two sat down for a raw interview with Rolling Stone's Lisa Paul. That's when the full story came out. The album wasn't just music. It was an emotional journal. A timeline of everything they'd lived and let go. Selena said it was the most vulnerable she'd ever felt in a studio. "I hadn't been this excited about music in so long," she confessed. "I had to pull over the car just because I was happy." That wasn't just excitement, it was release. Benny, sitting across from her, just smiled. "I knew this was coming," he said. "If it's healing for us, maybe it'll help someone else too." But this project wasn't built for the charts or the headlines. It was personal. Therapy turned melody. Selena admitted she'd been creatively lost before working with Benny, unsure of what she wanted to say next. But something shifted. It felt comfortable, she said. Like I didn't have to be anyone else in the room. Words like organic, trusting, peaceful, those were the ones she used. That trust turned into songs that sounded more like confessions than pop hooks. It blurred the line between poetry and pain. "These songs are just personal," she said. "They're not calculated." And maybe that's why they hit so hard. Because people could feel that honesty. Even when Selena tried to clarify that. Not all the tracks were about romance, fans clung to the idea. Some of these had to be about Justin, right? Lines like, "You said you were sorry, go cry when no one's watching," didn't sound like metaphors. They sounded like memories, specific ones. And no matter what she said, people didn't want to believe otherwise. The lyrics were just too sharp. Too raw. Familiar. As fans dove deeper into I Said I Love You First, one track kept resurfacing. How does it feel to be forgotten? Even the title felt like a wound. Like a question aimed at someone who once meant everything and now meant nothing. The lyrics didn't tiptoe around the pain. You're so embarrassing. Go cry when no one's watching. To a casual listener, it might sound like another sad breakup song. But to anyone who's followed Justin and Selena's story, it felt like a bullet. Quiet, cold, and direct. Another lyric added more fuel. You walked in, big ass grin, talking like we're friends. Honey, what were you thinking? Fans didn't need to guess. Their minds instantly went to red carpet moments, surprise reunions, awkward eye contact. That tight smile Justin always wore when they were in the same room but worlds apart. Then came the line that felt like closure written in ink. Look at you. Just look at you now. It mirrored her 2020 song Look at Her Now, which many believed was her self-anthem after leaving Justin. The symmetry wasn't just poetic. It was emotional surgery reopening what everyone thought had already healed, and then Selena made it unmistakably personal. She posted a message to Benny. Thank you for being my own personal journal through this process. She said the songs represented their past, their present, and the future she was now excited to live. No bitterness. No indirect shots. Just a new chapter written in her own voice, with someone else now by her side. But just as the public began to digest this emotional evolution, another familiar name floated back into the headlines. Hailey Bieber. Not through anything she said, but because of the context. Fans wondered, was this album Selena's final goodbye to Justin? And if so, where did that leave Hailey? Justin didn't release a statement. He didn't respond with a track. He didn't throw shade. He didn't even flinch online. What he did was far louder. He unfollowed Benny, Drake, The Weeknd, gone. He cleared his feed. No mentions of Selena. No congratulations. No response. Just distance, and in that silence, people heard everything. The Justin who once tweeted raw thoughts at midnight and responded. To every headline with a quote, he was gone. This Justin had learned something painful. That speaking from the heart didn't always protect it. So he chose the one defense that couldn't be misinterpreted. Quiet, his silence wasn't indifference. It was grief with no place left to go. Justin wasn't angry at the lyrics or the interviews or the album rollout. He was hurt by what they symbolized. That he had finally been written out of his story he helped build. That the chapters of love and heartbreak he once owned were now being rewritten without him. Not as a villain, not even as a memory. Just erased, and maybe that's what stung the most. Because losing someone is one thing. Watching them become happier without you, cheered on by people who once rooted for you, is something else entirely. Justin didn't just lose a relationship. He lost the place he once held in someone's life and in the eyes of the public. But the difference between the Justin of yesterday and the Justin of now is this. He didn't lash out. He didn't spiral. He didn't try to reclaim the spotlight. He let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because holding on would only hurt more. He'd spent years fighting to prove he'd changed, to be seen as more than the headlines, to grow into the man he believed he could be. And now, all he wanted was peace. Selena, for her part, didn't fan the flames. She spoke calmly. Her interviews felt grounded. She didn't deny the past, but she also didn't dwell on it. The album was about love, yes, but also about letting go. Her words weren't pointed. They were soft. Like someone who had finally made peace with the war inside. And Benny? He didn't need to say anything. His presence on stage, in interviews, and cozy Instagram posts said it all. He wasn't trying to replace anyone. He was just there fully in the space Selena made for him. Laughing in the late-night interviews. Cooking in her kitchen. Writing songs that didn't sound like they came from pain but from healing. For fans, this wasn't just about celebrity drama. It was a slow, painful realization of something very human. That sometimes, no matter how much history you share with someone, they can still leave you behind. And that healing doesn't always mean closure, it just means you've learned to live with the ache. So, was I Said I Love You First about Justin? Maybe not directly. Maybe not even intentionally. But when your past runs that deep, anything honest will always sound like a memory. And for Justin, those songs weren't just melodies. They were echoes. Echoes of a love that once defined him and a silence that now speaks louder than anything he's ever sung. That's the real story. Not of revenge or scandal, but of how hard it is to move on when the world won't let you forget.